Hello everybody, we should be live and running as of now. So I hope you all are able to hear me. This time I will try to make myself not being muted, as the last time or last week didn't quite work out that well. But we are in for a good time. Qualifying has just started. 17 minutes still left to run to determine the grid order for today's race. Today we are racing again, as we had a little bit of a difficulty last time round trying to run this race. It was a rescheduled race last time out. There were some server troubles, which meant the race was cancelled and moved to a further date. I have tried to make a keyboard work for the ability to show all different perspectives. It hasn't really quite worked out like I hoped to have seen it, but overall I will try for next week to see what I can do. In the meantime, we will just go ahead and enjoy the show. So currently it is round number 2. It is a redo. Excuse me. So we had round 1, then we had round 4, then we have round 2, then we have round 5, 6, 7, 8, and last but not least we have round 3. So it will all make sense. So don't you worry, don't think you have missed a round of some sorts. It is all still very much in the clear. So just quickly going through the track, we have 26 runners. And I've been able to verify that you all should be able to hear me quite all right. As Dennis has, or Van Eyck has chosen a different livery for tonight. Not anymore in his what was it again? The Python, the yellow and red Mercedes livery that's become all too known. As we take a quick look at the standings. As it is still Mr. Overtaker who is in the lead of this championship. Of course, I am not sure I mentioned this last time round, but there is a drop round, so in all honesty there won't have been much movement in the championship, although I do say that I believe Hammerlund has shot up to P4 now in the standings after that great result last week with a P2 and a P5. 11 minutes left to run in this qualifying session, and then we quickly head back to the garage. It is Mr. Overtaker who is on provisional pole position, with Hammerlund in second place, with Morrow in third, closely followed by Weatherston in P4, and then it is Glynn in P5. That's your current top 5. It seems to be pretty closely packed, as we are with 25 runners, I should say, as of now. Maybe some late joiners will enter the track as well. But we have to wait and see. It's only till we get onto the grid where we will be able to see who is actually racing and who is not. A little bit of information about this circuit. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or IMS as it is formal, known. We say Indy or Indianapolis, everyone knows what you're talking about. It's mostly the GT layout, or the road course as some might say as well. Of course, Indianapolis being most famous for the Indianapolis 500, which is a race that's been held every single year with the IndyCar Championship, where they race 500 miles or 200 laps around this circuit, although then it is in the oval shape. We are using around the same length actually. The normal oval is exactly 2.5 miles long. We are using the road course, which is a little bit less, at 2.439 miles, or just shy of 4 kilometers in length. 14 turns with some interesting sections. Most notably, you have the biggest braking zone going into turn number 1 with which is a prime passing opportunity if you can get the run on someone. Also, during the start, this will be quite hectic as there's a bit of a funnel going in. Then we have the snake pit, turns 4 to 6. It's a fast left-right sequence of corners, which can funnel also some cars. They have the Holman Boulevard with turn 7 to turn 8. That's the back straight where Van Eyck is just coming into the braking zone off. And here we have Maurer coming to the end of it as well. So this is the back straight, as one might call it. Slipstream is an effect that will help you out with a possible overtake. And then a little bit further around the lap you have the Indy hairpin, which can be quite a hot spot for overtaking moves, especially in the dying laps of the race. And then of course the final bit of the circuit, the oval, where you can pick a line and set up a potential move into turn number 1, as you see Scanlon just getting a bit on the brakes, creating some fresh air in front of him, so to not get any dirty air during their run. Currently in P9, trying to improve that as we are going to ride on board throughout this first lap. There we have turn number 1, a 90-degree corner, just waiting to get on the power for turn number 2. Then it's the long turn number 3, which tightens into turn number 4. Then you go right again for 5, then the long 180 degrees turn 6, where you want to keep to the left, as Scanlon does very nicely, to get a great exit out of turn 7 onto the Holman Boulevard. Hard on the brakes into turn number 8, again a 90-degree corner. Then you have the twisty section of 9, 10 and turn 11, where you just have a flat out section, end of sector number 2. Go up slightly onto the banking as you brake hard for the Indy hairpin in turn number 12. Then the final 2 corners. Turn 13, really important for your exit, you don't want to mess this up. Then powering it through the turn 14, going on to the banking, straight towards the finish line, but it was an invalidated lap time, so it would not have counted. It would not have been an improvement for their personal best lap time, just a 10th of their personal best lap time as of yet. 4 minutes left to go, so possibly 3 more laps for some drivers. For this race, it is a nice weather out there with not too hot temperatures, not like we saw last week at Barcelona. It's around 25 degrees outside, but there is a chance of rain. So far I've not seen that many clouds. It is a little bit overcast, but nothing really to be worried about, I think, in terms of weather interfering with the race. And still, it is a 60-minute race, so not the 2 times 25 like we had last week. It is a 60-minute race with 1 required pit stop. The refueling time is fixed, so it doesn't really matter if you take 1 liters or you take 60 liters. It's just one pit stop, you're in for a set amount of time. You are going to lose some time if you were to change tires, I believe, but it will only be 5 seconds if I am correct. I'm not quite sure on that number, if I'm honest. We'll have to wait and see if anyone will go through the pit lane and change their tires round. Two more minutes left to go, as it is Weatherston now in P1, or provisionally in P1, with BPX Royal. Then is Overtaker very close behind them all. Let's try to see if we can get on board with Overtaker. There we go. Look at that concentration on their face, trying to claim pole position for this round 2, which is actually round 3, but in the end it will be round 2. It's a bit weird. Going through the first sector, matching their time. They were a little bit down going into the breakings over to number 1, but managed to find a lot of time. And now again nearly finding 2/10, but then losing it a little bit again. Just eager waiting on the power, and that's too wide, and that's lap invalidated and into the barrier. Hopefully they're okay, as we just wait to see. There we have Van Eyck, who will also start their last lap, currently in P14 in the lower half of the grid. I am sure they want to be in the top half, as that's what they will try to do on this last flying lap, nearly matching their time in of their personal best lap time. Now close to 1.5 tenths up on their time, but losing a lot of time on the exit of turn number 7. Braking hard into turn number 8. Trying to stay left as much as possible will make the run through 9 and 10 much more easy. Still up on their time. The checkered flag is out. And Van Eyck only marginally up on their time, as they make it to turn 12, but that's a little bit deep, or quite substantially deep, into turn number 12. That has thrown any improvement away, although they did find a lot of time through turn 13, but not enough to make it count. As they come across the line, no improvement for Van Eyck. As Black is also on the verge of completing their qualifying. As they are trying to do their best in these last 2 corners to gain any sort of time. But it doesn't look like that will happen for Black. As is only Tidswell who is the last driver currently on track. Oh, and they as well go in quite deep into the turn 12. We might see some mistakes there during the race as well. A bit skirmish on the exit of 13, and up towards the finish line they go. It won't be an improvement. So there we have it. We have the formation, the starting order, with Weatherston taking another pole position, with BPX Roy and Overtaker in 2nd and 3rd, with Mora in 4th. Then we have the 3rd row of the grid with Glynn and Hammerlund. Cabras and Winters make up row 4. Row 5 is Popov and Didswell. Scanlon and Paris make up 11th and 12th place, with Mark and Van Eyck 13th and 14th. Cherney and Oliver 15th-16th, with Venter, Fitzpatrick, Caraballo and Dandes making up to P20. Then we have Bayliss, Black, O'Leary, Maurer, and Jordanov, who set a lap time up to P25. And then we have Junkal, who made it just in time for the race, and will start from the back of the grid after failing to set a lap time. And we have a 2.5 minute wait on the grid. Let's see, current track temperature is 20 degrees, so a little bit cooler than was expected. As we are now just waiting for the grid to clear up and to see the cars going out on their formation lap for the 1 hour race that will follow.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remain and we head out on the circuit. Where we focus on all those drivers, all of them very much concentrating already for the race to come. And it is green light for the formation lap. As we get underway, I think it will be vital to get the tires up to temperature quickly or good enough for this formation lap, as the circuit is a little bit on the cool side. As we see that Jordanov has not finished in time on the grid, so they will start from the pit lane. Might be a good shout actually, as it will become quite congested into turn number 1. Not a whole lot of weaving as of yet. There we see Jordanov. They will get the green light out of the pit lane as soon as the grid has gone past. There we have all the different drivers making their way around. Now entering the latter part of the circuit. Two Lexus in front, then there's a Ford and a Porsche. Will it be a Lexus 1-2 at the end of the race? We have to wait and see. Weatherson will be hoping for a good return after last race. When he started on pole position, he fell all the way down the grid to, I believe, P24, as they are now lining up side by side on the banking. 3 corners left to go for the formation of the grid, as Lane has also joined the grid, as they are all the way at the back, also after not being able to set a lap time. It is a redo of round number 2. We are here at Indianapolis, rounding the final corner, awaiting the green light, as we are making us ready for an hour of tough and fair racing. Be careful for turn number 1, as they are on the main straight, and it is green, 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 and away we go for round number 2. All the cars hurtling down to turn number 1 as they make their way down the main straight. Who will pick their braking spot correctly? It seems like everyone will. Not much happening further back. Jordanov has been released from the pit lane. There is some congestion down at turn number 2 and turn number 1. But it seems like everyone made it through okay without much damage, as there was someone going off there. Multiple cars are going off. I believe that's Hammerlund as well in the background into the gravel trap, as I believe they've gotten going again. But that is a big blow to the start of their race. As so far it looks to be still Weatherstone leading from BPX Royal, as there we have Hammerlund being forced into the gravel trap. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully we will be able to get a replay of that, as Overtaker is trying to go for a move, not quite there yet, as turn number 12, as that is Glyn going very deep into turn number 12. I already said it at the start, or not even at the start of the race, that there would be some trouble at turn number 12, and sure there has. The top 4 still remain the same after lap number 1, with I believe Andy Winters gaining a place, as that was Overtaker. Somewhat looking like they touched the wall on the outside. Bit odd to hit that wall over there. But anyway, they are still going. Not really seemingly being hampered by any damage. It is Weatherstone who is currently running away from everyone else. BPX Royal already 2.7 seconds behind. Of course they had to defend somewhat from Overtaker. As Van Eyck has made up quite a lot of positions, already up to P number 8. As again Overtaker just hitting the outside wall for some reason. Now on the verge of losing a position, trying very well to still keep that place, holding the outside line onto the main straight, staying ahead of Morrow in the Porsche behind. Morrow being over 8 tenths quicker on that last lap, is sure to be looking for an opportunity to pass sooner rather than later. as the Bentley of Paris is sizing up a potential move, or at least getting very close to the back of Van Eyck as they make their way through the opening sector of the lap. It's only lap 2 so far, but already quite a lot of action has happened. There's already been a quite big split off between two groups, where you have Bayliss leading the rearmost pack, having a gap of 3 seconds now to the car ahead. As there we see Oliver on Turney possibly going for a move as they pull out into turn number 8. Did they make it stick? Yes, but they are still side by side, but not fully able to capitalize on their move. Still, Turney staying ahead of Oliver. As Hammerlund now also joining the fight. Hammerlund, of course, trying to fight his way back, and that was very close into turn number 12. Hammerlund there as well, sizing an opportunity for a move. That Mustang very quick on the straights. As we look from the rear wing of Turney, as Hammerlund is very close by. Will there be a send into the first corner? They move to the inside line. Will they be able to brave it out on the brakes? No, not quite. Turney spotting their braking point to perfection and being able to just hold on for that current P19 position. Oliver behind, trying to go for a move on Turney. Oh, and a bit of a lockup from what I think was the rear brakes. Going a little bit wide out of turn number 6 onto the back straight. Not really close enough to go for a move, not really close enough to defend from someone else. As Mark is putting Paris under pressure, and into turn number 12 they make the move stick, as further up ahead someone took out some polystyrene boards. I'm not quite sure who that was. I believe it was Popov, who was in 6th place and has now dropped down to 8th. In the Lexus just ahead of Mark. Mark now needing to defend from Paris as they go into turn number 1. Oh, and there was a bit of a late skirmish. I'm not sure if that was intentional or a move under brakes from Mark, but in any case it means that there will be a lot of positions for Paris in the Bentley, and possibly also some damage. Look at the right hand side of their car. It is all scrapes and bumps as they make their way around the first sector of the lap. Hopefully not too much damage from them, but they have lost out of a handful of positions trying to make it on the escape road. Fitzpatrick under pressure from Cabras, going into turn number 8, and that's a very tidy move from Cabras to take P12 away from Fitzpatrick. Van Eyck also having moved up a place to P7 now that someone in front had made a mistake, I believe. I'm not quite sure who. But still ahead of the field, Mora with a 35.8, half second quicker than the two cars ahead of him. And also setting the fastest lap of the race so far. The race strategy calculator calculates a race time of around, or a race distance of around 37 laps. So that's just something to look out for. Possibly during the halfway stage of the race we will see some cars pitting, possibly for new tires. But that's not a guarantee, as it is not required. Fuel is only a required thing to do during the pit stops. Overtaker actually meanwhile has dropped down quite a bit. Now behind Andy Winters, who we are on board with right now. Leaving the space around the outside. Not really a possibility at turn number 12. In all fairness, everywhere around this circuit it is mostly inside line is king. As a lot of these corners aren't really opportunities to send one around the outside, possibly into turn number 8 if you're really brave on the brakes. As we can see, Dennis in Van Eyck in the background defending very harshly, as I'm trying to spot whether or not he defended successfully. It seems to be the case. Defended well from Popov there. You can see them in the background of the shot. As Overtaker is trying to claw his way past Winters, but Glyn being just tucked neatly behind the rear bumper, putting also quite a lot of pressure to the rear of Overtaker. 2 Fords and an Aston Martin in the battle for P4, as it seems like the top 3 is quite a long way ahead already, only after 6 laps have been completed. Barris also getting past Fitzpatrick. And Vente is next up on the road, trying to get past said Fitzpatrick as we go on with the helmet cam. Trying to get a good run out of this corner. Bit of a slide, but nothing much to worry about. And on to the main straight they go. And I don't think Vente is close enough to go for a move, but you can just see the little train forming, all within very close distance of each other, as there will be a move from Hammerlund on Dundies in the background. And it looks like they're still side by side. Dundies get their elbows out, and it is still Hammerlund who is behind. Dundies not able to make the move stick. Still fighting their way back from the opening lap. As there we have Van Eyck just ahead of Scanlon. Scanlon as well making up some places after the start. Currently set in P8. Cabras gaming time on Popov ahead, and including Titswell and Mark as well, as that's the little train for P9. As you can just see how close this group is for P4. Glyn has made their way past Overtaker, but is there also going to be a move for Winters? Overtaker actually retaliates. Oh, and there's a touch and a half spin for Overtaker. A little bit of contact from the right hand side means that Overtaker was a little bit unsettled, but luckily manages to keep it somewhat facing the correct way. And in doing so, able to stay just a little bit closer than he otherwise would have been to the back of Glyn and Winters. Hammerlund again just looking for every single opportunity to go for a move on Dennis. Oh, into turn 7. That was an audacious move. But now, with a bit of a compromised exit from Dundee's on the back straight, will Hammerlund go for it? Not quite. It's not really an opportunity there from so far back. As we will ride on board with Hammerlund throughout this final portion of the circuit. You can make some good sense into this turn 12 if you manage to spot your braking point correctly. Now on to the main straight. Is Hammerlund close enough to go for a move? The Ford being very quick in a straight line. They pull alongside on the inside line for turn number 1. Have they completed the job? It's the outside line for turn number 2. But that turns into the inside for turns 3 and 4, and it looks to me like Hammerlund has made it stick this time round. Had to wait a little bit on it, but got it done in the end. Jordanov not really having the best of races after starting from the pit lane, already being lapped a quarter of the way into the race. Just trying to do their laps. As Paris is now a little bit on his own as well. 5 seconds to the car ahead, 4 seconds to the car behind. As Vente has made a mistake, he was in P15, but has now dropped behind Dundes and Hammerlund. Van Eyck again defending very harshly to the inside line, as he manages to still stay ahead, or will he, as Scanlon is trying to fight back but not quite able to do so. As in the background, I believe, or in the foreground I should say, we have a lapped car by the name of Oliver and Titswell. Titswell has made their pit stop, car 60 or 56, and Oliver as well in car 26. Already going for quite an early pit stop. As is this a possibility for Cabras to go for a move? Not quite. Getting on the brakes quite early, not wanting to run into the back of Popov. As just listen to the sound. The Porsche is such a beautiful car and has such a beautiful engine tone. Not biased at all, just straight up facts. Is Lane going for a move on Moorer? They got the inside line for turn number 8. All the way across the curbs they go. But it seems to be job done for the green Porsche of Lane. As we have Scanlon now in the pit lane, possibly trying for an undercut on Van Eyck, as they were very closely together. Glyn still being stuck behind Winters, as they just went on the brakes a little bit too late. Did well in avoiding hitting the back of Winters, as Jordanov has parked it between turns 1 and 2, has gotten going again. Strategic wise, it is an interesting factor with this race, as do you pit early, do you pit late? There's not really a time advantage to be gained by pitting early, as we have another car in the pit lane, car number 91. 91 belonging to Scandon, who has gotten out of the pit lane now and rejoined the circuit ahead of Turney, I believe, or Titwell, I should say. Sorry, both these with an eye, yeah, close to each other. So Titwell and Scandon getting out quite close to each other. So now it's just a battle of position. They've both completed their pit stop, and now it's just running 40 minutes till the end of the race. Caraballo defending from Dundee's behind Hamelund after getting past Dundee's, already pulled a 3-second gap to Dundee's. Caraballo now also passed with Venter next up in the queue, with Mark trying to go for an overtake on Van Eyck. Very late on the brakes, manages to get it stopped in time. Just closed up that a little bit more to the back of Van Eyck. So their Mercedes. I believe it's the only Mercedes in the field, as we have two more cars in the pit lane. I know it is the number 98 Porsche of Lane, and it is another car which I'm not quite sure who that belongs to. Car number 10, who would come out just ahead of the leaders, as that is overtaking being in 6th place. So from 6th all the way down you will be lapped as soon as you get out of the pit lane, by the looks of it. As now there's a whole queue forming behind Van Eyck, 4 cars in total, all within half a second of each other, so this will become quite spicy very quickly. As Van Eyck makes a little bit of a mistake, going deep into turn 6, now being on the outside line, turns into the inside line for turn number 7. Both Mark and Van Eyck not getting an ideal line through there, as they are very close to each other, nearly contact as they are on the back straight. Braking quite equally for turn number 8, as it looks to me like Mark has made the position stick now on Van Eyck, just waiting for a mistake from Van Eyck and capitalize on it quite well. Now it's up to Popov and Cabras to make a move. Or for Van Eyck to claw back past Mark, as we see Popov is pitting, or we would have seen it if it wasn't for the buildings all being in the way. There we go, entering the pit lane, slowing right down to 50 kilometers an hour to not get a drive through or stop go 30. I'm not sure, really sure which one is it anymore. Anyway, now the first arguably real round of pit stops are coming in, as we have a car off, that is Jordanov, being parked at turn number 12. Not quite sure what's going on there. They have gotten going again, if I can find them. There we go. Finally, only took me 30 seconds, but we finally got some pictures as Popov is also now in the pit lane. Overtaker still currently on the same lap as the leader. Just a margin of 2 seconds between the leader and P19 on the road. With 1 second difference, there will be some blue flags being shown. Just as a warning to the car ahead that a faster, in theory, car is coming up behind them. As Paris now into the pit lane, stopping on at their grid stall, serving their mandatory pit stop. As you can hear those tires squeal from underneath. I believe it was the Mercedes I heard the tires squeal. It could have also been the Porsche. Van Eyck choosing the outside line as Cabras was sizing up a move, not quite going for it in the end. You are able to make it stick, but you need to be very, very cautious on the brakes, as just going a little bit too late will send you off a little bit too early and you won't make it stick. Morrow now in the pit lane for their first pit stop. It's the first of the top 3 who is pitting. As I believe Cabras is also now pitting, trying to go for an undercut on Van Eyck. That promotes Winters and Glynn up to P3 and 4, only momentarily because they also still need to make their mandatory pit stop, as we are nearing halfway race distance. With Mark and Van Eyck now being in 5th and 6th place. Morrow is now getting back out on circuit after serving their pit stop. Coming towards the end of the pit lane, still with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:35.855. And that is their pit stop completed. You cut a little bit off the first corner on pit exit and it gets him out ahead of Black and behind Moorer, currently in 15th place, but that will or should fall down quite a lot coming towards the end of the race when everyone completed their pit stops. Cabras will join just behind Scanlon, and remember those two were both battling Van Eyck for position, so I think Scanlon has made the undercut work out. As Scanlon takes P18 just ahead of Cabras in P19. But Cabras is really close already to the back, losing a little bit of time through turn number 8, or 7 I should say, going into turn number 8 right now. It's difficult to tell who has taken new tires, or if people even took new tires to begin with. As that is still uncertain. Glyn has now moved up to P3 as Winters has gone into the pit lane. And still top 2 remaining not but are being separated by not all that much, only a second. Still out on track. It's still Alexis 1-2 as Winters gets out behind the two of them. And ahead of Scanlon. So it will be very close where Van Eyck will end up. Shall we take a look now? Currently Morrow is the person in technically first place who completed their pit stop, but Glyn and Mark are both in for their stops right now, with Morrow should be able to overtake them whilst they are stuck in their pit box. Then there's Morrow and Black, and further down everyone has made their pit stop, so in theory Morrow should come out ahead of them. They have completed their pit stops, they are running again in the fast lane, but Morrow there getting past the pair of them. As Black and Paris fighting for position, Black still needing to make their pit stop and doing so right now, just right on cue. As 7-11 has got a 30-second stop go for speeding, and it is Glyn. Glyn has got a pit stop, and they were all the way up in P5 as I remember correctly, and also now just behind Winters as well, so not the overcut didn't work out for them. Even worse, they got a stop go 30 seconds. That will throw a big spanner into their works to finish anywhere competitive in this race, as it is a long pit stop here. Turney, Fitzpatrick, Black, Hammerlund, and who else is that? Weatherston are all in, so that means that we have momentarily a new leader, and by the name of BPX Royal, or BX Royal. Why do I keep saying BPX? It's BX Royal. I'm sorry for that. Are they going to respond? It looks to be not the case, interestingly. As they will make their way past all the cars in pit lane to go on for another lap, enjoying their time in the lead. This will Popov really closely together. Alexis from Popov trying to find a way past. This one not having the cleanest of front ends I've ever seen on Ferrari. But it doesn't matter, if they got the speed, they got the speed. Pit lane now being very busy, with lots of people going for the pit stop right now. Glyn has already opted to go for their stop and go, getting it out of the way as soon as possible. And now this is where I am excited for. Van Eyck is in the pit lane with Scandon, Cabros and Winters very close by. I am very curious to see where they will end up. As there we have Van Eyck. Van Eyck gets rolling again, and it is a long pit lane. Andy Winters now Coming up to the main straight, it will be very close between the drivers as Van Eyck just waiting eagerly to get off that pit limit, and I believe so that the overcut has not worked out in their favor, as now they can get off the pit limiter, and look how much time they lost to the cars ahead. That's a big shame for Van Eyck, losing out on a bunch of positions after completing their pit stop. Morrow now up back to P4 as Weatherson is only 2 seconds up the road, as we have the leader in the pit lane, BX Royal, now already venturing out. And with Dandies now in second place, is Dandies going to take first place? I don't think so, they are now also in. So presumably BX Royal, I keep saying it, very annoying. BX Royal will probably still hold the lead, although there we have Weatherson, Morrow coming up quickly. And it will be very tight on pit exit. Who is it going to be? There we have Morrow and BX Royal is side by side on the exit of the pit lane. And it is Morrow who takes away second place from BX Royal. The Porsche splitting the two Lexus cars, making an end to the Lexus regime dominance, whatever you want to call it. There we have Lane getting out of the way for faster cars, as there in the background we have Bayliss and Lane making contact with each other, where ultimately Lane came off worse. Being forced a little bit into the grass, I believe. And remaining behind Bayliss as of now. Moore in P5 still needing to make the pit stop. Are they going to wait till the very end? I'm curious, would you be able to do it on the final lap, seeing that the finish line is behind the pit box, or in front of the pit box? So in theory, they could complete a pit stop. I'm not sure if they want to try it out. What they want to do with that. So I believe everyone bar Moore has made their pit stop. That is indeed correct. Only Moore still yet to pit. Everyone else has pitted now, with some very close battles still happening right on track, as we have Scanlon and Popov with just ahead Cabras very closely fighting for position. Is Scanlon close enough to go for a move on the Porsche ahead? Not quite into turn number 8. With still 21 and a bit minutes remaining, everything is still on the cards. According to the strategist, 15 laps remain. Plenty of time to make a move. Weatherson now doing a 1:35.8, which should be the fastest lap of the race, unless someone else already took it away. Overtaker has done the exact same lap time, I just noticed, as their best lap time. There we go. Mora with the fast lap of a 1:35.765. Still top 3 being very closely together, as the fastest lap in a race was done in 2021 of a 1:34.089. So still a bit off, but probably better weather conditions, as we have increased a little bit in temperature, a full 1 degree since the start of the race. Mora now also doing their pit stop, getting back out on circuit, so everyone has done their pit stops. As if we see someone else in the pit lane now, that is an unscheduled pit stop, possibly for some damage. I'm hoping not for fuel. Glyn, after getting that stop go 30, dropping down the field down to P21, now defending from Bayliss, as Bayliss doesn't get a so much great line through the snake S's, whatever you want to call them, snake turns 5 and 6, and then 7. Let's see, are there any close battles on track? Well, we have Popov and Scanlon, who are still toe to toe, or bumper to bumper. Still 7 tenths, 6 tenths, just around that area, separating the Aston Martin driver from the Lexus driver behind in 8th place. For everyone watching, place your bets now. Who is going to win this race? Is it going to be Weatherston? Is it going to be Morrow? Is it going to be BX Royal, or is it going to be someone else other than the top 3? Will be a spicy one. Can this Lexus hold on from the 2 cars behind? They have pulled a bit of a gap, over 2 seconds now, from the 2 cars behind. As just up ahead we have a slow moving Vente. What has happened to them? Possibly a mistake on their end, going into turn number 12, I would assume, as it has been proven to be difficult for a lot of the drivers already. Hamilton on his return from the quite rear of the field, I should say, after starting well and truly in the top 10. Let's see, after starting in P6, I believe. Yeah, starting P6, now being P13, on the verge of getting up to P12. Just needing to get past Titswell. Good recovery drive from them. I think biggest loser, or the biggest one losing out this race, must be Glyn. But first we are going on board with Paris, who is trying to defend from Mark behind. Mark in that Ferrari, being ever so much looking for a move past the Bentley. Remember, the Bentley having a bit of an issue, damage in the beginning of the race. I'm not quite sure if they repaired it or not. Anyway, still trying to stay ahead. Was there a little bit of a touch there? Mark is definitely trying to force a way past. Just try to keep it clean, boys. That is all you need. Now on the main straight, Bentley Simi having great top end speed. Mark sensing a move down the inside. Will there be contact? They keep it clean. Very much respect being shown between the two drivers. I was really thinking that that would end up not necessarily with an airplane crash, as there we have Lane almost getting in the way of the two cars battling it out. As now, is there a move? There will be a move by Mark on Paris. Was that caused by the lapped car being a little bit in the way and making Paris take a compromise line? I am not sure. We will probably see that back in the replay. As here we have Fitzpatrick behind Oliver, or ahead of Oliver and Dantes, defending from 15th place on the circuit. Yeah, two very close by. Just waiting for a possible mistake, or better just trying to get there on pure pace. But Fitzpatrick up on their personal best lap time. Now losing it a little bit, or losing it all through turn 7. Not the biggest issue in the world. It's not about who gets at the fastest lap during the race. It's all about who finishes first in the race. As there we have Bayliss, who now gets out of the way of Winters, also getting out of the way of Cabras, and then we have Scanlon just waiting up behind, possibly wanting to go for a move. One second now to the car behind, which is Scanlon. There's now with only a handful of minutes left to go. Ooh, Leary with a bit of a slide. Out of turn 13, now into turn 14. You need to be careful not to lose too much time, as Mora is just behind. And Moreau needing to defend from BX Royal. Porsche versus Lexus. Will it return to a Lexus 1-2? There are still 11 odd minutes left to go. as there's a yellow flag up ahead. That is Jordanov just being parked, letting the other cars go past. Nicely done from them to not get in the way of this fight. As we see a possible move, it is very close between the top two or top three, I should say. But Moro needs to give in for BX Royal, but it's not over yet as they make their way through the opening corners of the lap. Porsche getting very close to the back of the Lexus. Will there be an opportunity to send it possibly up the inside of turn number 8? Not quite close enough. Now it's just a matter of holding on for Moro, holding on to the back of BX Royal. There is a lap car by the name of Caraballo in the way between the top three. Hopefully Caraballo will get out of the way in a decent fashion, as Popov has got himself a drive-through for track limits, cutting the circuit one too many times, and that's causing them to receive a drive-through penalty by the stewards this late in the race. That is going to really hurt their positioning, as they are currently in P7, and that will tumble them quite a lot down the order. Fitzpatrick has managed to drive away from Oliver and Dundee's behind, as Oliver still needing to defend from Dundee's, but you have the leaders coming up as well. There you see some blue flags already being shown for Dundee's to let them know that Weatherston is coming up very closely behind them. Bit of a slide through turn number 10. Or 11, I should say. Lex is now being very closely to the back of Dundee's, and I believe that they will let them through on the main straight. Wilson is already flashing as Popov goes and completes their drive-through. Dundee's will possibly move over or go for an overtaking move. I mean, that's also alright, as Oliver just lets Winston go, and in doing so actually manages to retake that 16th place. Very smart driving there by Oliver, knowing that Dundee's would possibly make a mistake trying to let Winston pass. And now BX Royal and Moro have made their way past Dundee's, with Oliver now letting the pair of them through as well, and still being ahead of Dundee's. Most importantly, did cost him a little bit on the exit though, as they are making their way down to turn number 8. 6 minutes left on the clock, possibly 4 laps to go. Hopefully they will all have enough fuel to make it that far. As the top three, still the pair or the trio of them separated by 2 seconds. Not an awful lot of gap in between the two of them. Still second in front and behind BX Royal. It is all to play for still with 3 more laps remaining. Winters also just ahead of Cabras, P5 and P6. Managing their own race also really well. Winters after starting in P8, now P5, that's a good gain in position. Overtaking Cabras, Hammerlund and Glyn to reach the top 5 on track right now, but it is not over yet. With 3 more laps to go, Cabras can still go for a move, and into this corner, turn 12, you sometimes see some audacious dive bomb moves. That was a mouthful. To just salvage any position possible towards the end of the race. Two tenths the difference in lap time between P5 and P6 in favor of P6. So those 2 tenths, if you just put them in every single lap, you might be able to make an overtake at some point. That being said, catching up is one thing, overtaking is a whole other thing. 3 minutes left to go to this 1 hour race. Hammerlund now behind Van Eyck. Hammerlund having a good recovery race after that little bit of ding dong in the opening lap, getting pushed out wide at turn number 4. Now clawing their way back up to P11. But still, after starting P6, it's still a little bit disappointing, probably, especially from his performance last week of a P2 and a P5 finish in the 2 sprint races around the circuit, the Catalunya. But still, 1.5 seconds behind Van Eyck ahead, and only 1.8 seconds behind Paris ahead. Still everything to play for in these last 2 laps. I believe that if Overtaker just manages to keep it on the circuit, he will be good for a P4 finish. As I think for quite a lot of people it's still pretty much the same, but Dennis Van Eyck making a mistake, I believe, seeing that Hammerlund was 1.5 seconds quicker on that last lap. Is Hammerlund going for a move already into turn number 1? Not quite. Van Eyck manages to get it stopped in time to meet the turn 1 apex. And the battle for P9 still rages on. Can Hamilton salvage a P10 or top 10 finish, I should say? Or will Paris and Van Eyck stay ahead? 1 more minute on the clock. But the leader will be on the main straight now, so that will mean that the final lap will start. So is this lap still?
Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
And then the final lap, give it all you can, the race engineer says. And I think Hamilton will receive that message all too well. Trying to push for a top 10 finish very closely here at the mid back of the field, or well, P10-ish field. I'm not sure really how you would call it. Hamilton with a good run into turn 12. Oh, but Van Eyck having gone a little bit deep. Now really struggling to maintain this P10, as the Ford is almighty quick in a straight line, and Hamilton is really close. Less than a tenth separates the two of them. Drawing alongside, and I believe this should be a slam dunk overtake by Hamilton. The Mercedes is still there, Van Eyck is still there. They give each other room, but it is Hamilton who gets the drive out of the first corner and takes P10 away at the dying seconds of the race. Taking it away from Van Eyck, who in their own regard having got a very nice race, gaining a couple of positions from the start. But we need to look at these top three as they come towards the line. It is Weatherston, BPX Royal and Morrow who take victory, with Weatherston P1, BX Royal P2 and Morrow in P3. Less than 2 seconds between the top three. An amazing finish, an amazing race from these top three. Overtaker will finish in P4, whereas Winters and Cabras will manage to, Andy Winters will stay ahead of Cabras to take a top 5 finish ahead of Cabras. As just behind the car of, I believe, Dandis has run out of fuel, possibly, I'm not quite sure. Scanlon finishes in P7 with Mark in P8. Then further down the field, Tidswell will finish in P12 ahead of Turney. And Popov will finish in P14. Farrell Sonka, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, good race guys, can't wait to be back in next week. Well, it sure was a very good race. I am glad that to see that you guys enjoyed this on circuit as much as I did here on the in the commentary booth. As I'm now gonna quickly save the replay. I didn't manage to do that last time around, at least not for the first race. So I'm gonna quickly save it, and then we can have a little bit of a chat. I'm going to save the replay and also save the highlights for good measure. I am not able to save the highlights. Maybe I am if I go back in again. Replay. And then we go to the highlights. Thank you, save highlights. Quit replay, because I want to take a look at the timetable of the finishing order, with the race result being Weatherston winning by half a second over BX Royal, then another half second for Morrow. It's Overtaker and Winters managing to get into the top 5, with Cabra, Scanlon, Mark, Paris and Hamilton eventually making the top 10. Then there's Van Eyck, Tidswell, Turney, Popov and Fitzpatrick to be 15. Oliver, Caraballo, Glyn, Venter and Dandies making the top 20. O'Leary, Moorer, Bayliss, Lane, Black and Jordanov making up the remaining field. I hope you all enjoyed this race as much as I did. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And before you head off, we might get some people in as an interview. I am just waiting to see if people are actually going to join. But yeah, it was still a Lexus 1-2 with the fastest lap, also going to Weatherston, interestingly, which ultimately was a let's see a 35.745, I believe it is. The screen being a little bit bugged. Um, Not even a little bit, just in general, quite a lot of bugginess going on. And now, really, um, no more names have been shown. Classic ACC doing funky stuff. Alright, let's quit this and go to the replay to see what happened on that opening lap. There we go. So, the start of the race. This is always such a fun experience, don't you think? Let's go to the front of the field. As there we go. Here we have Weatherston leading from those cars behind into turn number 1. So far so good, no contact between any of the top 3. There was a little bit of contact between the Mustangs, nothing much further down here by the looks of it. No, and then we get towards, oh, there was definitely going on something up here. Let's see what happens. Aha, it was Cabras and Hamelund who had an altercation with each other, which resulted in quite a lot of carnage. I'm not actually sure who would be the blame for this. Ooh, it's going to be an interesting one. I am interested to see if there will be an incident report made out of this, as by the looks of it, Hamelund came off the worst. That's a bit odd from Hamelund. Not quite sure what happened there with their inputs. Anyway, as we go a little bit further, I was interested to see when Lane let some of the leaders go by. It was not this lap, I believe it was the lap prior. No, it might have been the lap before that then. Gotta love these replay scouring that I need to do to just show you anything exciting. I believe it was even further back. Maybe I'm misremembering some stuff. Well, I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't seem like anyone is wanting to get in for an after race interview. So I will leave you all a lot for tonight. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and leave a like on this stream as well. It really helps us out. And then I have nothing more to say then until next week, where we will be going around the circuit Paul Ricard for round number 5. It's not at all confusing. A 1 hour race around Paul Ricard, which will give the Lexus and the Mustang probably a big advantage with their straight line speed. So until then, have a good one and see you then. Bye bye.